Have you ever been so obsessed with a sweater as you're knitting it that you're already planning the second one before you finish the first one? Well, this sweater is that one. It is called Laura's sweater, and it is oversized, fluffy, chunky, wearable, soft, and just so much fun to knit that you will want more than one. I can pretty much guarantee you. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the backstory for this. It's got a little bit of a story. So the reason it's called Laura's sweater is Laura, who works here with me, had a vision of this sweater that she was really wanted to put together. And it all started with the yarn and the fabric. But the combo was quite hard to find, so we actually took a very long time swatching. So there was many swatches over a few months trying to find the right combination of yarn that allowed us to make it open and yet fluffy and not too heavy. So we found the right combo, and then it moved over to me and I did the numbers and I started putting it together, and this is what we've ended up with. So now that you know the story of where it began, let's take a look at the actual sweater. When I'm designing a sweater, it is all about the details and just all those small little niggly details that make it very enjoyable to knit and make it your favorite sweater to wear and to knit again. So it's knitting the round from the bottom up, and it starts with a cast on down here. We've used an alternating cable cast on, and so what that allows you to do is it allows you to work very smoothly straight into that 1x1 twisted ribbing straight from the cast on, so you don't have that jarring cast on edge at the beginning. The actual ribbing is a little denser, so it's a smaller needle size, so it gives it a nice firm edge and a little bit of density to the end. From there, you decrease your stitches, increase your needle size so that you've got much more open stitches across here. So that means that you've got kind of a light, fluffy, airy body to it. You keep it cropped, you knit up to just here, then you separate front and back. You knit the back up to the shoulders and work short row shoulder shaping to slope the shoulders. From there you come back and you do decreases for the neck across here, short row shoulder shaping again, and then you join front and back together on the inside using a 3 needle bind off. Once that's done, it's back to the sleeves. You pick up stitches, work in that nice big open gauge down to the cuff, and you do the inverse. This time you increase your stitches, drop your needle size down, and get that nice firm ribbing that gives it a weight and a density to the edge of it. The edge of these are finished off with a seamless bind off. So there's several different names for it. Kitchener bind off, tubular bind off, Italian bind off. They're all the same thing. It creates a seamless continuation of that 1x1 ribbing all the way through into your bind off. Same thing with the neck. You've got your ribbing at the smaller needle size, and then you've got that tubular bind off as well. So it's stretchy and it looks really well. Now let's get into where it started and the really fun part, which is the yarn. So it began with finding a pairing for yarn, which was actually quite tricky because we wanted it light but yet fluffy and to allow us to knit it at a really loose gauge. So the starting point was trying to find a heavier fluffy mohair, which is quite tricky because if you've ever worked with mohair before, most of the time fluffy mohairs tend to be lace weight, so they're very fine, and then the yarn halo allows it to fill in the stitches. So finding a heavier version of that was fairly tricky. So we ended up with 2 different options. We've got this one is the Cowgirl Blues, which is a hand-dyed version. And the second one that we found is an Irish version. And it's not quite fluffy, it's a boucle rather than a true fluff. So this one is Cushendale's mohair, and that one is boucle, which gives you kind of little loops going through it, but it's also a DK. So these 2 versions were knit using the boucle, and the other version that has got the hand-dyed fluffy halo yarn. So that is the fluffy part, but then it's paired together with our Blasta yarn. So the reason we ended up with Blasta is there was two reasons. The first one is it was good weight, so it's a heavy DK or light worsted. And the second big one is that it is woolen spun. Woolen spun means that there's air trapped in it when the yarn is spun, which is going to give it a lightness and allow it to fill out a bit, which is the stitches to kind of fill out or bloom as they're actually washed, which is really important for what we're doing because we're trying to create a very open fabric. So when you pair the two of those, they're going to look a little different because the mohair from Cushendale is a solid color, so you get these solid color versions with the actual any variations you see is going to be due to the differences in the two yarn colors. And then the other one from the Cowgirl Blues is hand dyed, so it looks really different. So I got a couple of swatches I'd like to share with you. So these are all of the various different pairings we ended up putting together for the mohair, the Cushendale mohair and the Blasta. So this one here has got like it's a purpley with a kind of a purple blue we had. Here we have olive. This one is a lighter purple with a much pinkier burgundy color behind, and you can see how with some of these you get more of a marl effect when the differences between the two color yarns are a little bit greater. This is a good example of this because the Blasta is more of a mustardy kind of a mustardy gold color, and then the Cushendale one is more orange, so it gives you a real marled effect with this. But it also opens up possibility of having two that are almost the same color and a very light pale neutral color. Here we've got the one that I'm knit over here, and this one here is the one I'm wearing. So those ones are going to be your Cushendale combos. And let's take a quick look at the hand-dyed ones that will look very different. So this is the version that was knit in the hand-dyed yarn. The secondary color or the secondary yarn is still your Blasta yarn, and the difference is that you're using the fluffy hand-dyed mohair from Cowgirl Blues. So we've got this is a blue paired with the blue. Here we have a darker green and another hand-dyed green. And here is a lighter green version paired with a lighter color behind it. So it gives it a really different combo when you've got the second color is a little bit lighter versus darker. So you can kind of play around with it a bit. And this is the version, the full version that you've seen, but this is just the little swatch of that. So you can see how the hand-dyed yarn gives it a really different effect, and the Cushendale gives it a slightly more solid, but sometimes veering into a bit of a marl if there's a big difference in the two yarn colors. So now that we have looked at the yarn, the next thing you want to think about is sizing. And if you haven't knit a sweater before, or you've only knitted very fitted sweaters, this is going to feel a little bit different. Because if you take a look here, you can see that the sweater is a lot bigger than my bust size. So what that means is there's a lot of positive ease. So when you measure your body, so when I talk about measuring your body, ideally you do this with someone and you're not wearing a sweater, but I'm just going to show you for an example what this is going to look like. You get someone to help you keep this straight, you wrap it around your bust, and you see what your bust size is. So when you see on the pattern, it'll say to fit bust size up to, and it'll give that number. So it'll be any size smaller that will work, and we're not really suggesting much more positive ease than that. So that's going to give you the actual size of your body. Underneath that, it will give you the finished measurements of the garment. So what that will mean is when I lay this down and measure across here or even all the way around, that's going to give me the circumference that I get from the finished garment. So the sizes we have here, they're all the third size, which is 54.5 inches around. My bust size is closer to about 35, so that means that I've got about 19.5 inches of positive ease. So that is a great deal of positive ease, but as you can see, it does work with the sweater. The style is designed to kind of to drape and to flow and work with that positive ease. We've suggested about 15 to 20 inches of positive ease. That's a fairly big window, and so if you're trying to figure out where you want to go with it, you can decide to go up or to go down if you're sitting between it. So if you do like things bigger and oversized and flowing, then you go closer to the 20 inches like you're seeing here. If you prefer things not quite so big, then you might opt for closer to the 15 inches. We've actually all knit the size 3 here. We're all different body shapes, but it actually works for all of it. The biggest difference people end up making is actually the length and torso length and sleeve length, but the bust size seems to work with a really big range. So just to give you an idea on sizing and how you would go about figuring out what size you get to knit. So now you've picked your yarn, pick the size that you're going to knit. It has come for the time to swatch. I know that not everyone loves swatching, but with this it's really important because it's such an unusual knit and it varies significantly depending on what yarn you're using. So especially if you're pulling yarn from your stash and you're trying to figure out what it's going to look like, swatching is going to give you that answer. So if you want to watch me knitting through it, I've put some videos together where I'm knitting through different stages of it, so you can follow along, get your knitting out and see how I knit through it and knit with me. For the alternating cable cast on, we want to begin with a slip knot that we just put onto our needle. We don't need a long tail for this. You just put it into your left hand as if you were going to go knit. And the first stitch, you're just going to knit into it for the setup. So you just go in as if you will knit, wrap your yarn, regardless of how you knit, just wrap the yarn and then pop that stitch you've made knitwise onto your left needle. Now we're going to do a purlwise stitch. You come from behind between the two stitches, wrap that yarn, and then put the resultant stitch up onto the left needle. Now for our knit stitch, in between the two, wrap it knitwise, and then put the resultant stitch up on the needle. So that's the 2 stitches you repeat. For the twisted ribbing, you're just going to knit into the back of the knit stitch and then purl the next stitch. This creates nice, firm, tight ribbing. You do need to be careful though that you don't snag any of those loops or miss one of the strands as you're working. We're now going to come and change your needle size. All you need to do is grab your larger needle and just start working straight off the work. Now, if you've got an interchangeable needle, then you can just change the top of the second needle. We're now over here at the end of the round where you just work to the end of the round. At that point, you're going to be finished with the original needle. You can set it aside, keep it safe to begin working on your sleeve later. And when you move these up, you can see it's going to feel a little tighter because the needle size is bigger, but you just keep going, working your way in the round. If you spot a single strand here, it means that you have missed one of your double strands in the back. You can fix it by finding the column of stitches that it was on, drop that stitch off the needle, make sure that the other stitches don't come off the other needles, and you're just going to unravel all the way down to the point where you've missed that strand. So now grab a crochet hook, make sure you've got both strands, and now pick the 2 strands up so that you can pull them through to recreate the stitch. And then you're just going to work your way up right along every row of your knitting, ensuring that you grab both strands. When you get the top, the front of the stitch is what you want to put onto your left needle. We're now going to do a 3 needle bind off where you've got the right sides facing each other. You get a 3rd needle, the larger needle size, and you're going to go into the front and the back needle and you will knit those 2 together. Then you're going to go do the same thing with the next 2 stitches. And once you have done that, you're going to lift the first stitch over the second stitch for a standard bind off. All the way down to the end until you reach the very last stitch of your bind off. We're just going to put those 2 together, wrap the yarn around, and then lift that final stitch over. At this point, as with the standard bind off, you want to just trim your tail, make sure you keep it long enough that you can easily weave it in afterwards. I like to get any other ends here at the same time, wrap them all over, and then pull all of those tails through that final stitch to snug it up. Now let's take a look. When we turn it to the right side, this is what it's going to look like. I am just going to weave in the end of my double strands at the very beginning of the cast on to pull both through a nice big needle. Then I want to join across the two, so I will usually go into the top of the stitch across the way to try and recreate a knit stitch, snug it up, and then come back in on this side. So what I'm trying to do is basically create that join, and then I will, generally speaking, go up and down a little bit across the cast on of the work. And eventually come down on the inside of one of these columns, like so. Draw my tail down carefully, but not too tightly. Snug it up. So now that you know how the sweater is knit, you can see how absolutely and totally addictive it is. And I am guessing that as soon as you've got one of the needles, you're going to be planning another one in a different yarn and a different color. But for right now, let me know, what yarn are you using? What color are you using? You can drop your comments down below. I'm going to give you 5 seconds now where you can pop your comments. I'm just going to stop talking, 5 seconds. All right, there we go. If you haven't gotten started yet and you want to get this pattern, you can find the pattern down below, and let's get started knitting.